Hey, I'm Heather, a nutritional therapy consultant and founder of healthfullyheather.com. Today I really want to talk to you about an evening routine. An evening routine is super important, and if you're struggling with falling asleep at night, or maybe you wake up in the morning and you just feel like the night never happened, looking at your evening routine is a really great place to start. Often as children, we go through some sort of ritual before we go to bed. But when we become adults, this tends to fall by the wayside because life can just be so busy. We're just always moving from one thing to the next, and all of a sudden we're just in a rush to get to bed and to get those hours in before we have to wake up and do it all again. So having an evening routine or ritual is just going to calm your body down and get yourself mentally in the right place to help you have better sleep and to fall asleep faster overall. So today I'm going to talk about 8 different tips of different things that you can work into your evening routine. It's really going to be about finding what works best for you, but try these things out, give them a little bit of time, and take what feels good to you, and of course leave the rest behind. So the first tip I want to give you, if you are struggling with a very busy mind, with thoughts buzzing around, to-dos, things you're worried about, whatever it may be, those anxieties that keep you up at night, do a mind dump. So start off your evening routine by doing a full mind dump in a journal or just on some note paper, either writing down all the things that you need to do, writing down the things that are worrying you, just getting everything out of your head and down on paper. That way you don't have to worry about it anymore. All those things are written down. You know that they'll be there. You can look at them in the morning. You're not risking forgetting anything. And why I say do it as the first thing is that you don't want to be carrying this anxiety with you throughout your evening routine. So once you get it out of your head and onto the paper, you can move on to other things and you can let some of that anxiety go. So my second tip is, especially if you find yourself waking up in the middle of the night, you might find it quite an abrupt wake up. There might not really be a reason why you're waking up. Maybe you don't have to go to the bathroom or anything like that, or you might be feeling a little bit hungry. But you could be waking up because you're having a bit of a low blood sugar crash. This can definitely happen if we don't have the most balanced of diets, or maybe things were just a little bit hectic during the day and your blood sugar levels got a little bit thrown off. But if you do find that this is you, having a snack shortly before you go to bed, nothing too big, but something with a source of good carbs and healthy fats would be a really good idea for a snack to have that will help you get you through the night without waking up due to a blood sugar crash. My third tip would be to start preparing yourself for the next day. So after you've done your mind dump, after you've had your little snack, do whatever needs to be done so that when you wake up in the morning, you're not waking up already stressed and having to run around like crazy to get things done. It's going to give you a lot of peace if you go to bed knowing that things are already in their place. So that could be doing some chores or tidying things up. It could be already preparing your food for the next day or your breakfast. Or it could just be laying out your clothes or getting your bag together, just so that you have everything in its place and you're not going to be suddenly disrupted from falling asleep because you forgot something that you want to make sure is done for the next day. So tip number 4 is pick a calm, relaxing activity to do for 20 or 30 minutes just to help you sort of transition down into bed. The most important thing is that you should not be using any screens during this time. I think this is something that we've all probably heard a lot of, so you're probably familiar with the idea that the blue light in the screens can disrupt your awake and sleep cycles. So do something like reading with a normal book made out of paper. I know it's crazy. Or just listening to some relaxing music, something that's not too stimulating that can sort of help you wind down and get ready to pass off peacefully into sleep. My next tip is take a nice warm bath or even just a foot bath to help the body make its transition into going to bed. The difference in the temperatures between the bath and the air, and also having that warmth sort of generated in your body as you try and fall asleep, can be really, really helpful. And as I mentioned in the video last week, there has been a positive correlation to having warm feet in terms of how quickly you can fall asleep. So people who had warm feet fell asleep around 15 minutes faster than people who had cold feet. And those 15 minutes can make such a difference in terms of how well rested you feel in the next day. So the last 3 tips are around the ambience in your bedroom. So the first one would be, don't have a visible clock. If you have a clock staring at you, and you're having trouble falling asleep, it's just going to keep you up. I mean, I know I've been there when we look at the clock and we think, okay, if I fall asleep now, I'll have 8 hours. If I fall asleep now, I'll have 7 hours, and it goes down, and you get more and more stressed because you can't fall asleep. So if you don't have a visible clock that you can look at, you're gonna eliminate this and you'll have less that feeling of time slipping by. It will help you, get rid of a little bit of that falling asleep anxiety. The next tip for your bedroom is to make sure you're keeping it at a cool temperature. So you want to have this be somewhere around 65 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about, I'd say 18 to 20 degrees Celsius. That's really the optimum temperature for helping our body relax and go into that deep sleep that we need. And then the last one is make sure the room is nice and dark and quiet. So whether that's getting some blackout blinds, whether it's having an eye mask that you use, having earplugs or a white noise machine, just make sure you have a nice, calm, quiet environment to sleep in. So those were the 8 tips. I know that there's definitely something here for everybody. There's always going to be something that you can work on and that you can improve, especially when it comes to your sleep. It's such an important part of our life in terms of recovering from stress and becoming more resilient against the everyday stress in our lives. So drop a comment below, let me know which tip you're going to try out tonight, and make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel.